So this is my first off-the-cuff video, just shooting from the hip here, sitting in my car, which is apparently it's a pretty popular thing to do anymore with these. But I was I had a conversation today, and it keeps going back through my mind, and I feel like I should just shoot it out there to you all. Probably do a full video on this soon, but. So this morning was the Lord's Day. We had, we went to church and I did the whole church thing. I preached and I spoke. But today we had a very special group with us today, a very special people with the right to life here in Michigan. And with the whole point was to sign a petition against dismemberment abortions to get rid of these from the state. There's a veto, but they need 400,000 signatures before it can be brought up again and all this. And so the Right to Life contacted me in Michigan, asked if they could come for 2 weeks in a row to get signatures from my church. And I was very thankful for the opportunity to do that. And I chatted with her over the phone. It was a great connection. She showed up to the church, and just like before, everything was great. Like they showed up. We had some signatures. We had some rough attendance the last 2 weeks at the church, which was disheartening because I really wish we had everyone present. We want every signature we can. In fact, we had some people invite family just to sign for it. But what bothered me, and this is why it's appropriate to have it on this page right now, is since the church split is all dealing with church splitting issues, is dealing with issues that are important, is dealing with issues that tend to be divisive. And then there are certain things that as a pastor, I think shouldn't be divisive, like at all. It should never be divisive. Should be something that goes across all denominations that we agree on. But then she started telling me that a lot of the pastors she contacted to have this petition signed, that a lot of the pastors avoided and said, ooh, well, we stay away from politics here. We stay away from controversy here. This is, and one said, quote, a huge church in the area with thousands of people that go to it, way more than my little country church, with thousands of people that go to it. They said, this is a safe place, and we don't want to bring that in here and offend people, and we don't want to hurt people. And I have a problem with this on a moral level as God's people. See, in my church, we're going through the book of Acts right now. And in the book of Acts, sorry, there's some people walking. In the book of Acts, multiple times, the apostles are offensive. Because guess what? The gospel, the truth of God, is offensive. The truth of God is, you're a filthy sinner, and so am I. We are destined to hell without him. And we need to try to put our faith and trust in him to save us from hell. But the problem is that now the church has become so compromising that we're so afraid to offend people. And guess what? The apostles offended people all day long. In fact, they were going against every tradition possible, preaching Messiah. And what did the disciples say? They said, it is better to please God rather than man. And in fact, the Bible warns us not to be man pleasers, but to be God pleasers. And when I hear of churches who they just want to avoid the pro-life issue entirely, and then they'd even ask them, are you pro-life? And they'd go, well, yeah, we're pro-life, but we don't want that kind of controversy here. Who are you trying to please? That's all that comes to mind with me. And it's, who are you trying to please, God or man? Are we trying to please people? Because guess what, guys? You're not going to. Being a Christian is always usually against the culture that you're in, because we have different moral values than everyone else. Now, if you're not a Christian, I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking to my Christian brothers and sisters. And we wonder why Christianity is on a decline in the West, but yet an increase in other places. But people don't take us seriously here in the United States. And I don't know if you're in Europe. Apparently, I have some followers from like the Philippines and a lot of other areas. So I don't know what it's like there. But here in the States, Christianity is in crisis. And it's because no one takes us seriously, because we don't even practice what we preach. We say, yeah, we're pro-life. Yeah, God has every life planned. He forms you in the womb. He knew you before he even created you. Everything has a plan. And we say that God, at the moment of conception, is when life begins, which is actually correct. And I would love to have that conversation with anyone who disagrees. But Christians, You're avoiding a topic about life, about God's sacred life. We are image bearers of God. God created us in his image. We are his children. We're his people. And yet, when it comes to protecting the lives, which should be the most safe place on earth, a mother's womb, we go, no, I don't want to start controversy. Are you kidding me? Christians, we have to do better than this. We have to do better than this. Lives are literally depending on it. And all this is a simple thing to sign. We can't even, we don't even dare bring up a signature. And then we wonder why people don't take us seriously. It's hard for me to take Christianity seriously with this. We need to practice what we preach. And please, for all good things, push this on your church. This is a truth of God. And here's the thing, I say this all the time, we ought to be filled with truth and love, right? Truth and love. But truth without love is harshness, and love without truth is compromise. And the church in America today is so filled with that one. Love without truth. We're so concerned about creating a safe place for people that we forget about the truth of God. We forget about the truth of our moral standards. You want to avoid controversy? Don't be a Christian. Just being honest. Christianity is filled with controversy. But guess what? We can do better. And we can live up to God's standards in these, but we have to follow him and push in that direction. We can't be afraid of going against the culture. That's what's important too. Like, I understand that politics aren't everything, right? I mean, Christians really shouldn't be all that focused. You can be informed in politics. You ought to be, engaged in your culture. But this isn't a political issue. It's been turned into one, but this is a moral issue. One that the church needs to take more seriously. And when I'm hearing that big churches in the area are all turning it down, even medium-sized churches are all turning it down just because they don't want to start controversy, guys, this actually breaks my heart. Because we claim the name of Christ while denying his commands. We claim the name of God and his standard while turning our back on it. And Christian, that's just not going to do. We have to do better. If we want Christianity to see a revival, if we want people to take the church seriously, we need to see a following of his commands, especially on something as important as life and death. Because the most simple right, the most basic human right, is the right to live. Whether or not they choose to follow God, or, everyone brings up all these what ifs. I'm not talking about those. The most basic human right now is the right to live. And that's the right that is under attack. And yet Christians themselves are turning away from it because it's controversial. So I want to encourage you right now, especially if you're in the state of Michigan. If you are living in the state of Michigan, contact the Right to Life. Contact them now and have them come to your church and sign those petitions. Because if not, and I know, Pastor Will, you're judging right now. But if not, if you're not going to engage in this, then you're not obeying the simple commands of Scripture, which is, if anyone is to harm these little ones, it is better that a millstone be wrapped around his neck and him cast into the sea. And all this requires is a signature. That's it. You can't sign a signature. It just blows my mind. So Christian, I don't know. This just bothers me. The body of Christ is so divided, and it seems like because our culture of always being nice and not offensive has seeped into the church, and we forget the fact that the gospel is offensive. But you know what? The truth will set you free. But first it'll tick you off, right? Like the truth will set you free, but first it's going to tick you off. And it's going to upset some people, but that's okay. We have to take a stand at some point. We have to live up to our values, the ones that we claim. We can't just preach. We have to practice what we preach. We have to walk the walk. If we're talking, we got to be walking, and that's all there is to it. No one's going to take us seriously if all we have are empty words and vain promises. Nothing but a bunch of, that's all it is. It's hollow talk. And we ought not to be a group of people known for hollow talk. We ought to be a group of people that's known for following through with what they believe. So thank you for tagging along with this video. Thanks for watching the whole thing. It's about 10 minutes long, went a little bit longer than I thought I was going to. But guys, when it comes to this issue, we ought to be united on. This ought not to be a dividing issue. This ought to be a church splitting issue. And if this is something that bothers you, maybe you need to seek the Lord a little bit and do a spiritual inventory and check your heart on it. Because if this is something that divides, then it means that your heart itself is not right with the Lord, and you're not quite lined up with what he would desire. So anyway, hope this has been helpful for somebody. Share it around. If you want to, follow us at The Church Split. But if not, I really don't care. I'm not looking for followers right now. I'm looking to just get the word out. Let's get this signed. Let's get it going. Right to Life in Michigan. Let's get those votes in by December 1st. I think the cutoff is like December 20th something, but December 1st, let's get going. So with that being said, guys, love you all, praying for you. Let's just get this thing going, all right? Let's be united in this area. Pro-life. Let's protect the little ones.